Welcome back to Movie Draft House. I'm your host, Mark, joined by co-host Jeff.
You can tell by my cozy garb. We're in the thick of winter. It's almost Christmas. Actually, it's after Christmas if you're listening to this. Hope you had a Merry Christmas. How you doing, Mark?
Merry Christmas to you, Jeff. I'm doing well. Hey, it's the last episode of the year.
Yes.
And so that means, we got some top films and some bottom films that we're gonna get into. But before we do that, what's the theme this month?
Oh, the theme this month is missing persons. When someone goes missing, we're here to find them. And this time, the person that went missing is Blake Lively. Because we watched A Simple Favor starring Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively from 2018, directed by Paul Feig and written by Jessica Shazier and Darcy Bell. I think one of those is actually like a novelist, maybe.
Oh yeah, I don't know if this was based off of a book. But Jeff, had you ever seen this one?
No, I hadn't. A friend of mine had recommended it, but I just didn't get around to it for no other reason than I do a lot of movie pods. So it just didn't come up. Have you seen it?
Yeah, and Paul, I'd seen it once before, probably right after it came out. But Paul Feig is he's pretty well known. He directed Bridesmaids, which is probably his biggest critical or commercial success as a director. But he's directed. He directed a Ghostbusters film. He's directed a lot of television,
A lot of comedy. Yeah.
A lot of comedy. And this is another comedy. This is more a not necessarily what I would call a dramedy, but it's a comedic with some thrilling undertone. I don't even know.
It's dark comedy or a psychological thriller, which I wouldn't use psychological thriller, but
right, I wouldn't either. But this film is more funny than it is thrilling, right? I
wouldn't.
And so.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it like thrills and chills,
Right. But it stars Anna Kendrick as our main protagonist, and then Blake Lively as the person that goes missing. However, it's Anna Kendrick's best friend, and Blake Lively's character Emily is questionable. She's kind of this lack of a better term, bad boy character. She has a kid, but she doesn't really care that much about her kid, and she's they live in a big house, and she wears fancy clothes,
suit,
and she's an ad executive or
a fashion company, I guess is how I put it, but. And she dresses the part because she always looks cool. She had this pinstripe suit with the hat. And then when she comes to the park and she's got that power suit on with the red gloves, pretty dope. I don't consider myself a fashion person. No. Anyone who's seen me knows that. Like, look at me right now on camera. I don't know fashion, but she looked fucking cool.
She is so Blake Lively is in real life somebody that's very attractive, and in this film it accentuates her attractiveness, I guess, and plays off of her ability to be striking in different outfits and all. Anyways, she the film goes out of its way to present Blake Lively as a very desirable character, even though we learn along the ways that hey, she's not a good person, but she's still good to look at, and the film wants you to, and I feel like the film wants you to continue to feel that every time she's on screen until like we get into the end of the film where we learn things. But the same goes for Anna Kendrick. You know, and it's kind of striking in the film how short Anna Kendrick is.
Is Blake Lively that
compared
much taller than her, or did they do? Is that a forced
I don't know,
perspective?
but I mean, I think Blake Lively is. I think Blake Lively is pretty tall in real life, but I also think Anna Kendrick is very short. Blake Lively is only 5'5".
Anna Kendrick is 5'2", but definitely in this movie.
Okay, so force perspective then.
Platforms, you know, but there they are. No, like there's a picture on the runway where they're standing next to the director. She's still like feels like a foot taller, but it's probably heels. She probably has massive heels that she wears or something.
Yeah. So Anna Kendrick is she's a single mom, and her husband died in a car crash.
Boy, this movie's crazy. There's some things in this movie that I just was not ready for. Like I did not like. I felt like this was going to be a lighty. Oh no, she's 5'10", and so no, she's much.
Who, Blake Lively? Oh, I googled Blake Lively height, and Google's telling me 5'5".
Okay, I don't know. Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
But
who cares? She's taller than Anna Kendrick.
I there were things I was not prepared for. Incest being the main of them, the one that I just did not see coming. I thought this was going to be a much more lighter fare than that, and
well, I mean, they made light of it.
Certainly did. That felt weird, and it also felt like the sort of secret that Anna Kendrick wouldn't share. You know, right. Just on a dare. Like, what was the one she said? Like, my secret is sometimes I don't rinse my dishes before I put them in the dishwasher. And then she was like, yeah, I had sex with my brother.
Right. I mean, it's and that's part of the comedic, you know, the comedic value here.
I mean,
is that
is that ever funny? Like, is that ever like good one?
I mean, maybe in a more straightforward comedy, I feel like it probably would be received a little differently. But like Anna Kendrick, she across her films, she generally plays a comedic character. And here I feel like she's playing this character and giving them comedic value. I don't feel like the character is funny. I just feel like Anna Kendrick's playing the character well, and we get insight into the type of person that Anna Kendrick's character is, which is somebody that has a sense of humor.
Yeah. I mean, she runs a vlog and, a mommy vlog, and she's a good mother. They illustrate that many points, very patient. Right. To play off of, she's also lonely, right? She's a widow, and she doesn't really have any friends, which I don't believe that someone like Anna Kendrick isn't one of those movies where, like, someone like Anna Kendrick wouldn't not have friends.
Yeah, but the film also goes out of its way to paint her as annoying, which I could very much see.
That is true.
Somebody like in real life like that, that kind of goes out of their way to go above and beyond for the kids' kindergarten group or whatever. I could see where other people would be like, "Oh, this is tiresome. I don't want to be around you," which is why I think her and Blake Lively get along in the film so well, is because they're so vastly different. And at a point in the film, Anna Kendrick decides she wants to assume that type of life, and so she starts dressing like Blake Lively, and she moves in. She starts fucking Blake Lively's husband after we find out that
totally believable because she hooked up with her brother.
Right. So, I mean, there's points in the film where, she decides that she wants to be like Blake Lively, Blake Lively's character, and so, all the while continuing to look for Blake Lively after she goes missing or is found dead, and I'm putting air quotes. And I thought the film kind of like, I really didn't care that like there was a twin, right? I mean, I saw it coming. I mean, it's painted pretty early in the picture that there's probably a twin here, because they find who they think is Blake Lively dead pretty early on in the film, and I could not believe,
like, I at no point thought
this character would actually.
I didn't know it was a twin necessarily, but I at no point thought that the character that we've been following was dead. Like, it just wouldn't happen at this point in the movie.
Right. I and like one of the things I mean, so like we find out that there is a twin, and like I really didn't care that much about that story arc, just simply because like these characters were already interesting to me. Like, I didn't really need that story. I didn't need Blake Lively's backstory. I didn't need, she could have just been a straight villain, which she is, but like we kind of got a version of her backstory where we understand why she is the way she is, and then we see that she kills her sister, and like the film goes out of its way to make you feel like she is a very bad person. So I didn't understand the storytelling of abusive dad and all this. Like, so I was like, I don't really like. I get why you told me that, but I didn't really feel like it was necessary. It's because you've already told me she's a detestable person. Like, I don't really need to know why. She could have just been evil. She could have just been like this completely bad character, and I didn't need to know anything about why she was the way she was. And that's just how I feel. But I mean, she's trying to scam insurance for $4 million. That's enough reason for me to believe that that's why she's evil. I don't know. That's just part of the film that I didn't really feel like.
And I just thought it was more at the end of the day executed to me. Like, I guess this mystery of her going, Anna Kendrick going to find out about her background that you know so little about, the whole objection to her having her picture taken, and because she has conned these other people, I kind of thought was actually more interesting that if the story was simply that she was this con artist and she kept changing and going from place to place. I thought that would be kind of more interesting, that she just liked money, and I'm not saying I don't need the backstory. Sometimes it can offer some clarity, but I don't feel like it did. I felt like it was kind of extra to the plot. So I agree with you. And it's not because they added it. It's because I don't feel like it felt like it fit the character as much to me.
Right.
Whereas the part I like is when Anna Kendrick goes and sees Linda Cardellini's character, and they have their whole sequence. I thought that was interesting. She's like, oh, she went by the name Cassandra, and just kind of her going around and unraveling all the different lies she's told, I think could have been pretty interesting. That's just not the direction they took.
Yeah. What's her name? Linda Cardellini? Yeah. So I just watched a staple in my house around the holidays is Daddy's Home 2.
I would have never guessed that in a million years.
Because it's a Christmas film.
Yeah,
It's
but
a
it
fucking
just
Christmas
never
film.
would have come up.
And it's such a great Christmas film. But Linda Cardellini plays the Will Ferrell's wife in that, and she's good. Like here, she's very different than anything that I've kind of seen her in before. But in Daddy's Home 2, she's very funny.
I've always been a fan of hers since like the Freaks and Geeks era. Yeah.
No, I mean, so we got to touch on it. What do you think of the children acting in this movie?
Was decent.
No, fuck that kid. Fuck Blake Lively's kid in this film.
Well, I think
sucks. I mean, he's got some funny moments, but
character certainly sucks. Yeah, I don't think he was super believable for someone who's supposed to be as wounded as this kid is. You know, his mom faked her own death, and you know, like, it's not great. But it didn't take me out of the movie. I thought it wasn't that bad, like where I was throwing up in my mouth.
Well, I mean, they're also not in the movie enough for you to be like, oh, I hate them. I just in the moments that Blake Lively's kid is in the movie, or her character's kid is in the movie, I'm just like, oh god, this is not good child acting. But I didn't mind Anna Kendrick's character's kid.
Yeah.
Like I felt like that kid was much more believable as an actor. Anyways,
I just don't.
Why we're judging?
Yeah, I'm not going
to
shit all over them. They're kids.
I mean, this movie is a who done it, or not really who done it, but what happened, and Blake Lively. So Henry Golding plays Blake Lively's husband in the film, and we find out that he's fucking around on her with some TA at the university he teaches at. But we also find out that like they're in massive debt, and there's all these motives for why he maybe would have killed her for insurance money. And so, like, I did enjoy the fact that the film paints him as maybe he killed her, but it never goes into, like, I never got the impression that.
Well, and I think we as the audience
like, the film just kind of
supposed to get that impression, right? Because they have presented Blake Lively's character as being so unsavory that, you know, it doesn't make sense for him to do it, you know.
Right. Well, and like it makes sense for him to maybe, like, I get the motive of why he may be messing around on Blake Lively. She's not a nice person.
But he is
so
sexually owned by her. Like she can just meet me in the bathroom, and then he's sucked in.
Right.
No
right.
Pun intended.
Which is. Like, listen, Blake Lively invites me into the bathroom. Like, I'm questioning my life at the moment. Like, I'm like, oh God, why is she inviting me into the bathroom?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways,
we can keep going down that.
Blake Lively's reputation has taken kind of a hit. This is just kind of an aside, but It Ends With Us movie.
I haven't seen it, so
it's on Netflix if you ever want to watch it. It's so when the movie was doing its press rounds before its release, Blake Lively, she was pregnant at the time, and her, she'd married to Ryan Reynolds, and she got a lot of negative publicity because, like, in an interview that she was doing with whoever it was for this movie, or not this movie, but It Ends With Us, the interviewer said something about, oh, it's good to see you in your bump. And she was like 8 months pregnant at the time, 7, 8 months pregnant. And so, but like when the interviewer said that, like Blake Lively got offended. Like she's like, how dare you comment on my body? Pregnancy is a part of womanhood. And she just like took it all out of, just went out of left field with it and got a ton of negative press for, her comments. And then the movie came out, and it was this kind of lukewarm reception, and she blamed the negative press that she received because of this interview on the film's poor box office. And then so like then the internet's like, bro, like no, the movie sucks.
Yeah, the movie just sucks.
You're trying to, right? And so and then now, within the last week, it came out that she's filed a lawsuit against the guy that directed It Ends With Us, who also co-starred with her in the movie, for sexual harassment and hostile work environment, and it's just been like, this movie is like, it just won't go away, and like it's so Blake Lively, people on the internet, and the internet's not a kind place, but people on the internet are not being good to Blake Lively, and Netflix purchased the streaming rights to the film for a good chunk of money, and so the film ended up making like at least back its budget, but like Blake Lively just can't catch a break this year. She's probably ready to go underground with a baby.
Much like in our film.
Anyway, that was just an aside to this movie. Is because like I haven't seen everything Blake Lively's been in, but everything that I've seen, the things that I've seen her in, have been okay.
Watched
she's a decent enough.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yes, she doesn't she go topless in that movie?
I don't remember. I just remember the ending being absolutely stupid.
That's the one with
where at the end, they have like this,
Aaron
they have
Taylor
like this
Johnson
shootout and stuff, and then she's like, "That's what I thought it was going to be," and then everything went fine. It was stupid. Like, the better ending they retconned out of it mid movie.
Yeah. No. Savages, not the Savages.
Is it?
Savages.
I don't remember if it's the or just Savages.
Yeah. No. But like I remember like everything I've seen of Blake Lively, she's been pretty good at, and so like she's one of those actresses that like kind of exists to me. She's kind of like Nicole Kidman to me, where I'm just like, yeah, Nicole Kidman's fine, but everybody else is like, oh, Nicole Kidman is one of the greatest actresses we've ever seen. She's got so many Oscars, blah blah blah, and I'm just like, okay, she's okay. It might be because she's Australian.
You don't like Australians?
I don't know if I like them or don't.
That's one way to put it.
Anyways, Jeff, anything left to say about this one?
I don't that much. The whole I got a camera in my shirt thing.
Yeah.
And then she didn't end up with this husband still. They painted him to be like a piece of shit because he got recorded saying, I don't want to be with her. I want to be with you. But he was at gunpoint, like,
right.
Like they painted him to be a piece of crap when he really was probably the main victim in this movie,
Well, and the movie goes out of its way to paint him as, a bad guy too. And so like he never really gets a redemptive arc.
They just kind of shit on him, and when then she moves on with her life, and she's still in his house, right? And he's gone,
right?
Like that final vlog is in that house, so somehow she ended up with the house.
Yeah.
So maybe Anna Kendrick is the biggest, con artist of them all in this movie.
I liked her character, but her motivations were also questionable. So
I don't know. It's a weird movie. It kind of like that's the feeling I left with was like this was weird. Like the tone, like it felt like it went for a bunch of different tones, and it didn't really hit any of them.
yeah,
Other than the fashion was very stylish. So like if this got nominated for a best costume thing, I wouldn't bat an eye. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to be desired here, and some of the story didn't make sense, and it's just kind of weird.
yeah. So
No,
do you
I'm not
recommend?
gonna recommend this. How about you?
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. I mean, it's an enjoyable film. It's just not something that I would probably put
Ever
on
again?
purposely again.
It's not
Yeah.
terrible.
So, yeah, right. And that's most of Anna Kendrick's movies is that like they're enjoyable. I enjoy watching them, but like after they're over, I'm just like, okay,
Well, I like Anna Kendrick.
I'll never watch that again. I do too.
I mean, what was,
she's one of the.
Voices. That was us. It was like the second episode
That
of
was
this
us, yep.
podcast. That was a good movie.
Yes. That was a good movie. And then she's a director now. She directed her first film that came out earlier this year.
Like,
Yeah.
I felt there was some proper tension and stuff in that movie, but took some bizarre liberties.
Yeah, she's talented.
With the truth.
She is for sure talented. As a actor, singer, creator. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm not going to recommend it.
So, it is again the end of the year, which at this point in time, we like to go over our favorite and least favorite films we've watched for the pod over the last 12 months. And I've compiled my list. Are you ready for yours?
I am, and I must say that this year we didn't watch a ton of stinkers.
I had a harder time finding shit movies. Like, I actually had a.
There's going to be films on my bottom 5 that would have been middle of the road last year.
Exactly. And there's I had a tough time narrowing down my good movies to just 5. So I felt like
we had a lot more good movies than
more consistent of a year.
Yeah. So yeah. We want to do bottom or top?
Let's
do bottom.
Bad news first, and I'll start with my 5th film. 5th from the bottom. I'm actually going to go with He Got Game for being a Spike Lee film. I don't even know what the story was of that movie. I mean, I know he's trying not to go to prison, and then to get his son to, go to big state and that'll get him out of prison, and he does it and he still doesn't get out of prison. I don't know. Not my favorite Denzel performance, not an enjoyable film.
Yeah, that's nowhere near my bottom 5.
But you were saying that would be middle of the road any other year.
Yeah, for sure. My 5th bottom film is Halloween.
It almost made my list, but I just felt too bad. I was like, man, it's a legendary movie, but boy, it's so boring.
It's not good. Yeah, I just for all the hype that it continues to get, and just the film overall, I was so disappointed. And again, in other years, this probably is a bottom 10 film.
It surprised me how much I didn't like it because I love a good slasher movie, but this was I don't know that I've ever had seen this movie.
It's barely a slasher
in
movie.
full before, and I know it's a pioneer, and that's why it has the cachet it does, but I don't think it's aged that well.
No. All right, Jeff, what's
my
your
fourth
fourth
film?
film?
Was Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage. I really did not enjoy this. It did get me to watch the original, which I enjoyed a whole hell of a lot more, but man, just not enjoyable. He doesn't go full Cage, and because of it, it's just kind of dull. I thought the characters, this felt direct to video almost. I really did not enjoy The Wicker Man. Again, a movie that probably wouldn't be on a bottom 5 had we not had such a consistent year, but I really didn't like it.
Yeah, it's also my
good.
number 4. Yeah. I'm in the same boat. There's shades of classic Cage here, but we don't get full Cage, and the story, it's just, there's a lot of questionable things. I just, the last 10 minutes kind of make up for, the film being as mediocre as it is, by going just batshit insane the last 10 minutes.
And it doesn't help that the most
no.
iconic scene isn't in the movie. You have to watch the director's cut, and I didn't watch that, so it gets a poop.
Yeah. Yeah, poop. What's your number 3
like
film?
unto it, Leprechaun. I really don't like the first Leprechaun movie. I really thought, again, like you were talking about with Halloween, I thought that this was going to be at least sillier and more fun. And spoilers, if you listen to All Things Being Sequel, eventually the series gets there. But this was not fun or entertaining. I didn't like it.
Oh, it's too bad. Too bad. My number 3 film is Max Payne.
That was a bad one.
Just early Mark Wahlberg.
I don't think it's early Mark Wahlberg.
Kind of just. It's not, but like it makes you think it's early Mark Wahlberg. I mean, his acting is so wooden. He's
Tell
brooding.
me what the plot was to that movie, because I don't remember.
Who knows, man? Right? Who knows? But the tone of the film, it's all bad. It was hard to pick that as my number 3, because it also could be my number 1. But
but you still have a number 2.
I do have a number 2, and I do have a number 1.
Well, I think
these are the last 2 movies are kind of interchangeable.
I'm kind of with you. My second worst movie is Max Payne. All the reasons you said.
Okay.
It's a hot pile of garbage. I don't really remember anything about it other than it tried to be cool and failed, which is about the least cool thing anyone could do. So, no. Bad. Thumbs down. Terrible.
My number 2 film is Demon Knight.
Oh, that can't be right. That can't be right. We need to go back in time and listen. You didn't hate that movie.
I don't actually remember
were like,
anything
man,
about
what
that
kind
movie.
of made it? You need to go back and listen. That can't be right. Because there's no way it's worse than Max Payne. Because even you were like, man, Billy Zane is pretty good.
Billy Zane is the only thing about that film. I remember saying on the podcast that if Billy Zane had not been in that film, it would be
I'm so
such
upset.
a terrible film. Billy Zane Billy Zane
I'm
sells
so
the
upset.
film.
That movie is so good.
I didn't recommend it.
It was almost on my top
it.
5. But it doesn't matter that you didn't recommend it, but to say it's worse than Max Payne is an insult.
Well, I did say that all 3 of these bottom 3 films are pretty entertaining.
No, God, no, because I know what your worst film is because it's the same as mine. But I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. I can't. That movie is so entertaining. Oh my gosh. Okay. I need a moment. What the fuck? Who am I podcasting with? This is bullshit. I feel like you did that just to piss me off. All right. So say it with me now. My worst film of the year is Monster Hunter.
Monster
Oh my God.
Hunter. Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, a very clear number 1 too.
Now, we always have this talk at the end of every year. Is it the worst movie we've seen? For me, no. No. The Fountain
correct.
and Sils Maria is still far worse. But good God, nothing happens in this movie. And not only does nothing happen, but it's on a big sandy landscape with nothing visually happening either. It is truly one of the worst video game movies I've ever seen. It's awful.
Yeah. It's so bad that I don't understand how anybody that was a part of that film still has a career. Like, I mean, it's bad.
It's bad.
Like, just, I mean, from the effects to the plot to the direct, I mean, just the acting, I mean, it's just terrible. And like, I mean, every year we have a clear number one.
This was clearly the worst movie we watched. And I don't want to say by a mile, because Max Payne is pretty bad, but it's still a good separation of quality between the two. Like, it's an easy
correct.
answer as to which DVD you watch to get out of a locked room. You watch Max Payne 99 times out of 99. But let's get on to some good stuff. So I
think this is where our list is.
For sure, quite a bit. For sure. But why don't you start us off this time?
All right. For my at number 5, going to number 1, Light of My Life, which is our first film of the year.
That was on my short list.
Casey Affleck. I really loved the quiet moments in that film. I thought it was very well acted, very well directed. Casey Affleck also wrote and directed that film. And just the moments that he has with his daughter throughout the film, just very good. I mean, it's tense. I just really, really enjoyed that film. And if we were to do like a top 10 films so far that we've done on this podcast, it might make my top 10.
So what that means, okay, I'm not going to try to math that out, but that doesn't make sense. But I do agree it is good. So, but for me, I actually went with Air. Really liked the story, despite the fact that I am a Michael Jordan hater, unapologetically so. The story of how this shoe changed the NBA was very interesting, extremely well acted. We get the Ben and Matt show, and it was really fun to watch. A really good story.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed that. That made my short list.
It's the same with Light of My Life. It was on. I was like, damn, we watched a lot of good movies where this isn't getting on there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I enjoyed that one too. For my number 4, The Favorite. Starring,
also, my number 4. Yes, very
Oh, really?
good.
Okay,
very
cool.
Good.
Yeah, I really, and I didn't, I'd never seen it, and I hadn't seen it because like it's a period piece, and I have to be in the mood to watch those, and I was just kind of like, and it got a lot of critical acclaim, a lot of Oscar buzz when it came out, and I'm really glad I got to cross that off my list as something I watched, because it's a really good movie, well acted, well directed, sets and costumes all great. Just a fantastic film all around.
I'm a big fan of Yorgos Lanthimos, and this just added to that. Wonderful story, incredibly well acted. I didn't know where this was going. Like, the story just was like, that's one thing about his movies is you've never seen another story like these. Like, if you've watched Killing of a Sacred Deer or you've watched The Lobster, you've never seen a movie like it, and this is another one of those. I love it. Very, very good. Like, the competition starts to get pretty stiff as we go up the charts here. So,
yeah. All right. My third top 3 film, or in the number 3 spot, The Iron Claw.
Another good one. Yes.
The I mean, just incredibly sad film. But incredibly acted. I mean, just entertaining, but endearing and heartbreaking. I mean, just all the emotions.
We here on this podcast are huge fans of Zac Efron, as has been established. We have the biggest of man crushes.
Yeah,
and he's great in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, everybody that's in that film is really good, and so just a really good film. And the reason why it's in my top three over The Favorite is that it's something that I don't feel like I have to be in the mood to watch. As The Favorite, I might still need to be in the mood to watch something that takes place at a certain time or whatever. Whereas The Iron Claw, I feel like the ensemble of the cast really just sell the film, and I don't need to be in any type of headspace to,
I would
to
flip
watch it.
that. Like Iron Claw was on my short list, didn't make the top 5, but I would be more likely to watch The Favorite because it's funny, and visually interesting. Whereas, do I want to be depressed? Then I'll throw on The Iron Claw, But again, great movie, can't really disagree. But my number 3 is going to be my controversial pick, a la your Demon Knight being the second worst movie this year, which is just false. That is just false. But for me, my number 3 movie is what I would now say is a new all-time classic for me, that I will watch over and over because it fits Jeff like a glove. Any guesses?
Oh, it fits Jeff like a glove.
It's going to be War of the Roses. I fucking love War of the Roses. It's funny. It's weird. It's sexy. It's crazy. Yeah,
I would have never guessed that.
I love it in all kinds of ways that I just love classic films is War of the Roses. It took me by surprise how much I loved it when she cartwheels down the stairs and shit. Love it. Love it.
Okay. I mean, it's.
You don't have to.
I understand why.
This is what I know.
I
wasn't
know.
going to be on your top 5. Like,
yeah. No, but I understand why. I mean, I did enjoy watching that movie. So.
The fuck.
All right. My number 2 film is a Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I just like, it's such a breath of fresh air when it comes to Star Wars films, when it comes to heist films, when it comes to storytelling in a universe, in a vast universe, but it's so dialed into the moment that you really don't need any of the other films. It stands alone by itself, extremely well done, funny, endearing, great action, great characters. I really, really enjoyed Rogue One, both in the Star Wars mythos and as its own story.
Yeah, can't argue with that. Great movie. Didn't make my top 5, but that's probably just more because I'm not a big Star Wars guy. So, but
sure,
my number. You know what I am though.
You're a big Van Damme fan.
But we didn't watch any Van Damme this year, so I can't do that. But I'm also a big professional wrestling fan, and so my second film is
Ready to
Rumble. You nailed it. Just kidding. Peanut Butter Falcon. Really, talk about heartfelt, wonderful. It loves wrestling, and yet it's not. I don't know. It gives me the warm fuzzies. Peanut Butter Falcon does. It's a happy, hopeful, enjoyably good movie, and
yeah,
I love everything about it. It's great.
Yeah, it made my short list. Shia LaBeouf is really, man. When he's dialed in, he's really good. And that shows here or in the Peanut Butter Falcon. And I love this whimsical adventure. Him and I don't remember his name.
Yeah,
go on. But like it's just this. It's kind of this big brother little brother tale, and the ending's great. I love the ending. It's just it's one of those movies that you throw on and you just feel good.
A lot of fun.
But yeah, I completely understand why that's a top 3 film for you.
Number 1, baby.
All
what do we
right.
got here? You haven't mentioned my number 1 yet, so I'm thinking maybe we're on the same page. Let's see. Okay.
No, probably not. So my number 1 film is Nimona.
No, I would not have seen that coming.
And I sung the film's praises before we watched it. We watched it here at the Draft House.
It's always a good time.
And I sung its praises afterwards. It is a wonderful animated film that's full of great characters, great voice acting. The animation's great. The story and the things you can pull out of the story and apply in real life are good. Acceptance and living in your own skin and it makes me feel good. Watching that movie makes me feel good is because the characters are so good. I get why this film wouldn't be in your top 5. But we watched so many good films this year, and I didn't really feel like we had a clear number 1.
That's fair. I've known my number 1 for a pretty good while.
It's Vice, isn't it?
My number 1 film is Vice. I love Vice. Holy shit. It's great. Like, it's funny. It pisses you off. And it's incredibly well acted. I mean, come on. Like, Batman is so good in this movie. Right. And also the casting of, man, I am blanking on names today. Help me out. Who played George Bush in this? Sam Rockwell is so good.
Yeah.
And I love the way that this took, and Adam McKay, I discovered through that episode, is one of my favorite directors unknowingly, because I'm a comedy guy and he makes a lot of great comedies. But this thing is like his piece de resistance. This thing is so good in so many ways. So I'm glad you guessed it. That seemed, I don't know why you guessed it, but I'm glad you did. But
well, it was on my short list, and like there was just 5 other films that I enjoyed a little bit more.
Demon Knight.
I agree with you. It's a great film. And honestly, in another year, it probably is in my top 3.
I'm like, this is. I don't remember. We watched it like in the summer, I think, and I was like, this has got a good chance of being my number 1 movie. Like, and then as we kept watching movies, nothing ever quite touched it, in the way it made me feel. And that remains to be true. It's fantastic.
No, I completely understand. I really enjoyed it. It's a great film. I just there was 5 others that I enjoyed a little bit more than that one, but completely understand. I don't disagree with anything you said.
It's it's been a good year of film. I think for us, I would say we had the most consistent year yet, as far as not
agree.
The depths weren't too deep. I mean, Monster Hunter and Max Payne, pretty fucking bad. So I'm still a little butthurt. But I don't. I think you should go back and listen to the episode and just, we're not going to retcon it. We're going to live with it. But
I'm good with my 5.
Your bottom 5. I'm not good. My
bottom
with
5,
them.
yes.
Demon Knight is good. But we are entering into a new season for us, as we're going to take a year-long break from themes for one big theme, which I'm calling the 1 degree of separation. And so what we're going to do is take turns picking our next film, but what we're doing is you have to have it within 1 degree. Same actor, same director. Basically, 1 click away on IMDb is what I'm thinking, and that doesn't count any ads on the side. You can't cheat. Have it be related to the movie in one significant way and not plot. Like you can't, this is an action movie, so I picked another action movie. Actor, director, maybe we'll stretch it with writer if, that seems a bit weak, but I'm going to try to not do that. So since our most recent film was a Simple Favor, I decided to watch another Anna Kendrick movie, but she's not.
Okay.
She's a supporting actress in this film. And it's a movie I've not seen. And get this, it's an A24 film. Okay. And it stars Dane DeHaan, John C. Reilly, Aubrey Plaza, Molly Shannon, Cheryl Hines, Paul Reiser, Anna Kendrick. We're going to watch Life After Beth.
Life After Beth.
It is a dark comedy horror movie.
Life After Beth. Oh,
it's currently on Amazon. And the one thing that you got to say though is you get to pick the movie off of this, but look at the buffet I've given you of options. John C. Reilly, Aubrey Plaza, to a lesser extent Dane DeHaan. I mean, now I will say this, let's make a rule. You can't use the same degree. So you
Okay, so what was your degree from Simple
Anna
Favor
Kendrick.
to...
So I don't want you to go back up the Anna Kendrick line.
Okay.
Like, let's go
So-
away from...
all
I
right.
want to see how far away we can go. Like,
Okay, it was far away from A Simple Favor.
I'm
as we
just
can get.
saying, let's make a rule that neither of us reuse the same one. So, like,
Sure.
even if Anna Kendrick shows
That's
up in
fine.
another movie later this year, let's
We can't
not
use
do
Anna
that
Kendrick-
unless we
Anna Kendrick.
really get put in a bind, which I don't think we will.
I've already got my next film.
Dutch.
It's going to be... it's going to be The Grinch, who stars Cheryl Hines. So
We're going to watch The Grinch in January.
with Jim Carrey.
I love Cheryl
just
Hines,
kidding.
though. I'm a big fan of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Anyway,
There's a lot of you did give me a
There's
lot
a
of
lot to work
a
with.
lot of film access.
there's
so,
a lot to
yeah.
work with. So that was kind of what did it for me. And also, this looks like it might be up my alley. We've had despite you objecting to doing zombies in October, I will remind you that Anna and the Apocalypse was a zombie film, and both of us really loved that movie.
It was a Christmas zombie film.
Okay, well, we're gonna watch another zombie movie.
I'm just saying,
so-
like. All right. So, what about in June? Anniversary month. Are we gonna take like? Are we gonna go back to?
you want to draft a theme in June
June?
and then take a break?
Oh, I feel.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that would be applicable. We keep be consistent
we
on our
pause
anniversary month.
On
Pause
May, the last episode
The
of
separation.
May, and then July you would draft
back up in
based
July.
on the movie in May. Yes, I
Sure.
can agree to that.
Okay. Because I mean, at least that continues
I was gonna say I was gonna miss draft a theme, but we get to do that still. It's best of both worlds.
Yeah. It'd be great. It'd be fine. I'm looking forward to watching the first film in our first degree of separation, Life After Beth, which is streaming on Prime. Anyways, don't forget to hit the subscribe button when it pops up if you're watching on YouTube. And if you want to follow the podcast on all your favorite social media platforms, we're on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, right here on YouTube. So give us a like, follow, subscribe. Anywhere you get your podcasts, we're there, so you don't miss out. You can follow me at I Heard You Liked on Twitter/X. Jeff, you want to tell them where they can find your other
go
stuff?
onto your favorite podcast machine and look up chronologically. We're getting ready to start our new season with, actually, it might still be a little ways off, but we're going to do our next season is going to be Quentin Tarantino. of which Mark has already recorded an episode with us, and I feel is maybe an all-time classic episode of Chronologically now. And then you can also check out my newest podcast, which is called All Things Being Sequel, where Eric and Elliot, a couple friends, we run through long-running series. Right now we're doing The Leprechaun, which that starts up here in the new year, so get subscribed.
Yeah. So, Jeff, any last words?
Nope.
Cool. We'll see you in 2025.